What's up, everybody? This is my first YouTube video in quite some time, and this is actually going to be my home lab. If you can tell from any of the previous videos on my channel, you can kind of see the growth pattern of how I could possibly get here. But yeah, let's get right into it. So here I have my my 12U rack. That's from TechMojo. This was on Amazon. This is, I think, like 150, 160 bucks, which is actually fairly well priced, just because for some reason server racks, or network racks I guess, are going for crazy stupid prices right now. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So here down below I have my Netgear Ready NAS. This is very old. It's got an old Atom CPU in it, but it has 4 2TB drives. It's running in RAID 5, so it's, 3 are active, 1's redundant. It did come stock with 2 GB of RAM. I upgraded it to a 4 gig stick, just because that's the max that you can put in those. Right up on the first set of the 12U rack here, we have my PDU. This is just basically a large surge protector. I have all of my devices here plugged into this, and yeah, so it's just clean, simple, faces the back, so kind of hides some of the cables. I do have to come in and do some more cable management, because at some point relatively soon I would like to get a Kubernetes little nest set up here, so that's going to be a future video at some other point, once I can figure out how to get all that running. But yeah, here in the second slot here is the main brain of my network. This is my Unify, or my UDM Pro, my Dream Machine Pro. I have a 5 gig fiber circuit from AT&T, and I was having a ton of problems with their routers just being slow, not being very good about passing through networks. I've done a whole thing where I've done default networks, and I've passed through, I've done an infinite number of things, never got it to work, and then I ended up finding out that you can get one of these things. Let's pull this off. We'll actually talk about this in just a second, but this is a ONT stick. But basically what this does is this mimics your AT&T fiber gateway, or the ONT, and this does all the translating for all the fiber traffic, and it's running the Bell or 8311 firmware on it. Took me a long time to get it actually fully working. I am not a networking and IT person by trade. This has actually been a massive undertaking and hobby of just getting all these pieces together, and I may or may not have gone totally overkill. But yeah, I got that set up, and that's running my 5 gig circuit off of this. I no longer have my AT&T gateway, which is kind of just sitting over there collecting dust. But yeah, I also have a SFP to Ethernet cable, which is coming through here. It's patched up here, and it's running directly to an unmanaged 2.5 gig switch that also has 2 10 gig SFP ports. One is going up to my gaming computer up here to a 10 gig NIC, Ethernet NIC up there. So I'm getting the full, at least my 5 gig speeds, and we'll show some speed tests here very shortly. But yeah, up next above that is a HP PoE switch that I actually have not been able to configure yet. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I have an input of data from here, and I've also got the console port plugged in. I've tried doing the factory reset on it, have not been able to fully set that up, but we'll get there at some point. And then connected to my unmanaged 2.5 gig port, we have one of the 10 gig ports coming into here, or actually not, this is separate, this is input going computer, sorry. One of these, and it's this one here, is going through here, it's patching through the back to here, to the 10 gig input, which is only getting 2.5 gig. But I have all of my devices here. I've got this, my Jet KVM, which we'll get to in a second. That's powered off of that. I have my media server, which is a Dell Precision 5810 that I've actually done some modifications to. We'll get there as well. And then I also have my PS5 that's connected, and a U7 Pro Max, which is my main driver for my network here in my room. And then, yeah, so it's all been neatly organized. I've tried to do this as professionally as I can for somebody who is hobbying this. And then above that, I actually got, this is on Amazon, this is a 3D printed little rack for a Jet KVM. This thing is pretty sweet. So what this allows me to do is actually totally remotely access my server. And in turn, it allows me to connect directly to my NAS down here through the UI in it and make configurations as needed. But yeah, this thing, it has an HDMI cable that plugs directly from here into a video card in here, as well as a USB plug for power and for, you know, keyboard and mouse inputs. And this thing's really sweet, man. It's got a nice, easy, simple UI that you can access, and I actually have this running through their cloud network, so I'm actually able to access without going through my WireGuard VPN that I have set up on here. But yeah, this is it mostly for the network rack itself. It's relatively simple, totally overkill, but at some point I will be switching this out for the USW Pro, which has 10 gig dual ports. So the issue with this is the SFP and the 10 gigabit Ethernet cable are on the same internals, so I can't run a 10 gig input from the 10 gig out of the UDM Pro, powering this and then having an output to my card, which is why I have this here in the middle. And it's actually, I've found out it's causing some issues possibly with my VLANs that I have set up, because I have my gaming computer on a separate VLAN. But yeah, so we'll approach that at a later date. But for now, this is the way that I have everything set up. And then we come up here to my main server, which is an old Dell 5810. And inside this, it's got 32 gigs of DDR4 ECC, as well as I went ahead and upgraded to the most recent revision of these motherboards, because it's an X99. It's a Haswell, 2014, 2015, 2016 style workstation or server motherboards. It had actually, let me grab it. It had a Xeon, let's see, I'm getting paste all over my fingers, but had a Xeon E5 1620 V3, which is it's a 4-core CPU, 8 threads. It was great. It honestly was not super slow, because I actually am running Ubuntu on this. At some later date, I might switch to a different OS or Linux-based OS, but I am very, very, very early on in my project for this, as apart from, it doesn't look like it, but I am in terms of my own knowledge. But I went ahead and put in a E5 2699 V4, which is a monster of a CPU. It's 22 cores, 44 threads, base clock 2.2 gigahertz. So it's single core speeds, a little bit slower than the older CPU, but for general use, for all your multi-core needs, it has it all. It's 22 cores, so it's never going to probably ever hit 40 or even 50% utilization for that matter. But I have a Asus riser card in here that has 4 NVMe slots. Only 2 are occupied right now. And I had to go to the most recent version of the BIOS, not only for the new CPU, but for bifurcation as well. And I also have a old EVGA 1080 Ti in here that I am using for my transcoding for my home media network that's running Jellyfin. And that was a whole hellacious job that I spent way too long on configuring and getting set up. But for now, it is totally set up and working. And the next thing on the schedule for this is to actually host my own personal website that points to this. And I'll be able to access my media server without actually having to use WireGuard. And so if I have friends that want to access my media they can without, you know, downloading and configuring a WireGuard VPN themselves to point to my network. So that is the next part of the schedule. But yeah, that's it for the main part, and shortly we'll jump over to the KVM access, the whole UI, and yeah, then we can go from there.